Good morning, students. I hope everyone is well. Today we will be moving on to the section called Space and Shape, and we will be dealing with different shapes. As you can see on the screen, we will be first dealing with triangles. And in this section, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at the properties of two-dimensional shapes. Now, the first we're going to look at is triangles, and the second we're going to be looking at quadrilaterals, and quadrilaterals are two-dimensional shapes that have four sides, as opposed to our triangle, which has three sides. So our first triangle that we're going to be looking at is the equilateral triangle, and what is noticed with the equilateral triangle is that all sides and angles are equal. So if you look at where the mouse is, the side along the mouse is equal to the other side, which is equal to the third side. So the first side is equal to the second side, which is equal to the third side. And the same can be said with the angles. The first angle is equal to the second angle, which is equal to the third angle. Now what we notice with the equilateral triangle is all of their angles are equal to 60 degrees. Okay. So the second triangle that we're going to be looking at is the isosceles triangle, and in the isosceles triangle, two sides are equal. So the two sides are the two longer sides. The base, however, is not equal to the other two sides. Now the other feature that is present with the isosceles triangle is that the two base angles are equal. So these base angles lie at the base side. So if you imagine a triangle on the triangle on the floor coming up, then the base angles are on the floor coming up towards the apex. So those two angles are equal. Okay. And the third triangle that we're going to be looking at is a scalene triangle. And in a scalene triangle, all sides and angles are different from each other. Okay. And the last triangle that we're going to be looking at is the right hand triangle. Okay. So the right hand triangle, um, and its prominent feature is a 90-degree angle which sits at the base of the triangle and the height of the triangle. Right. And what is noticed about this triangle is that we can use the theorem of Pythagoras, which we'll do in the third or second term, to calculate the side of the longest side. Now this longest side is called the hypotenuse. So you have the base, you have this perpendicular height, and perpendicular means forms a 90-degree angle, and we have the hypotenuse. So those are our triangles. Now we're going to be looking at quadrilaterals very quickly. And quadrilaterals, here we go. We have the basic parallelogram, which is a rectangle, which is sort of like a rectangle. Now the thing about the parallelogram is that the opposite sides are equal. So the side along here is equal to its opposite side, and the side where the mouse is equal to the opposite side. And what we notice about the parallelogram is that its opposite angles are equal. So what you can see here is the angle A is equal to the opposite side, which is also angle A. And this angle B here is the same as this angle. So that's the parallelogram. And we all know a rectangle. Now the rectangle is just like a parallelogram, but it is not at a slant. Okay? Now the rectangle is the same as the parallelogram when it comes to its sides. So opposite sides are equal, right? And what we can see here from our diagram is that all four angles are equal. So by the looks of it, they are 90 degrees each. Okay. Now we look at the rhombus, which is the same, which is a smaller square version of our parallelogram, and we can see that in the rhombus, all four sides are equal, and we have our opposite sides which are equal to each other. Okay, and what we have here is the second last shape, which is the square. And in the square, all four sides are equal and all four angles are equal. Now the last one is a trapezoid or trapezium, and this has no unique feature along its sides, but its most unique feature is that the opposite sides are parallel, and parallel means that these lines will never meet. Now we can see that all the lines in from our parallelogram to our rectangle and our rhombus and our square, all of these lines are parallel, which means that they never meet. So the opposite sides are parallel. Okay. Thank you for coming to this lesson, and we will see each other